Welcome back into the College Football Every Game on the Board podcast. It's part number 3, guys. We're going Washington State, Michigan State, 169-170, down to Pittsburgh, West Virginia, the Backyard Brawl, 191-192. The rotation numbers, those little numbers next to the team name on the odd screen. We're going down in rotation order. We got some good games coming to you with some good insight from Gabriel Morency at Sports Rage on Twitter. In my opinion, the most entertaining man in sports betting. That's the way I would prop you up here, Gabe. Welcome on in, buddy. How you feeling?
Well, it's very high praise, Drew. We appreciate it. Excited to be here. Let's do this thing. You know, I was looking at this college football card throughout the week, and from a big game glamour standpoint, we don't have the Texas Alabamas. We don't have that Miami Hurricanes. And how about those Hurricanes? We don't have the Hurricanes and the Aggies and these sort of sexy matchups. But from a betting perspective, the more I started to dig in these, under the rock, under the radar type of games, I think we've got some spots to hit the book here.
Absolutely, man. Let's get after it. And you bring up the Miami Hurricanes in my neck of the woods. Well, the Washington Huskies in your neck of the woods, I believe you're going to a game a little bit later this year, making the trip to East Lansing, little Pac-12 versus Big Ten matchup. First game up, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific here, guys. 169-170. We are seeing Washington in that passing attack. Minus 16.5 point road favorites here, Gabe. 55.5 being the total. You like it anything Huskies and Spartans?
I think it's too many points to lay, even with all the controversy and stuff that's going on with Michigan State right now off the field with Mel Tucker. It's a lot of points to lay for a team flying across the country. It's interesting. I guess these are future conference rivals, right? Mm-hmm. It has that Pac-12 Big Ten matchup to it right now, but this is similar to last week with Texas and Alabama, future conference mates. I'm a big fan of this Washington team. And it really sucks, man, that the Pac-12 is falling apart the way that it has. It's the first time ever they have 8 teams in the top 25 right now, and they're legitimate teams, man. And Washington might be the best one. I mean, everyone can talk about Caleb Williams all you want. Michael Penix Jr. is every bit as good, bro. It might not be as flashy. He doesn't look like Mahomes when he does it, and the ball's kind of sort of shot puts it. He's got a weird delivery. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost like a baseball. Kind of like, it's not pretty, but the guy can sling it. And love the offense. I think they've got talent on defense, this Husky defense. Now, listen, this game could get away from Sparty. But, Drew, it's funny, and I'm a Michigan guy, but looking at it, with all the noise about Sparty, they actually look pretty good against Central Michigan, like in week 1, right? They handle their business. They beat them easily. And you look at his offense, they're 2-0. You know this, Drew. Richmond Tigers, that's a solid team. They're better at basketball, but they play football there. That's a solid FCS program. They smoked Richmond. So where I'm going with this, and I don't know what I'm missing here, Drew, isn't this total way too light when you look at the explosiveness of the Washington Huskies offense? Like, come on, man. Like, Washington are going to get into the 40s on their own. And I think Sparty's going to be able to score as well. To me, the slam dunk here is the over of this football game. If I absolutely positively had to, I would say let's lay the points with the Huskies and hope that they win, 45-24 type of deal. And that's kind of how I think this could play out, 45-28. But I love the over of this game, Drew. That's going to be my bet here.
Okay, I like it. Good start. Yeah, I can see some points for sure here, Gabe. It's almost like Michigan State is kind of a tough handicap. You touched on that. We got next game up.
They put up 43, and they took the pedal off the metal in their last game. Was against Tulsa. They could have scored more. They didn't. They know bigger things are coming up. We saw what they did, and they hung the 56 on Boise. Penn, I'm telling you, I'm on record. I think Washington are the best team in the Pac-12, and I think they can go to the playoffs and win the Pac-12.
No, it's interesting. I share your thoughts on the Pac-12. I'm kind of sad about it, to tell you the truth. I know you're there in Pac-12 country, man. I guess part of the handicap here, though, and
Big Ten country as well. It's funny, ironically enough. Hey, I'm in Big Ten country, bro. Can you imagine that? Like, yeah. LA is Big Ten country now. Seattle is Big Ten country now. Like, next year, when you're walking down the street on Hollywood Boulevard, you're going to look up. You're in Big Ten country, Drew. It's true. They're in the Big Ten.
I guess so, man. I guess my question to you, like handicapping wise, is Michigan State with the coaching, I guess you could just say, yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. The allegations going with the head coach here. Sometimes it can really affect the team, but sometimes not so much. It seems like some of these players, they're just like, go out there and play some football almost. It's almost like, hey, game day's here. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Do you read into it like that from a handicapping perspective?
It's tough, isn't it? Because it could be one of these instances where these kids unite and they're like, everyone thinks we're done now. And we're, sort of like the Jet theory. And also, we love this guy. We're going to win for him. I'm only here because of Mel Tucker, and I'm going to play hard. And then there's the other thought, right, of, man, F this place, man. I'm out of here. I'm transferring the second I can, as soon as this is over and whatever. And I don't like the administrator, and I only came here because of Tucker, right? So, but I'm with you in a sense, Drew. Look at all the noise with the Raiders throughout the week last week. I know this is pro football, but look at all the noise with the Raiders, right? Once you run through that tunnel and you step on the field, it's a job, bro. You're playing for yourself. Like you're playing, like Bo Schembechler said, it's the last time you're ever going to play for a team in college football. Like you're playing for yourself. And I think a lot of kids, it's like, yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, he's not here, but I've got NFL dreams, and my NFL dreams like matter for me making a play right now. So I sort of throw that out a little bit, to be honest. You're still going on the road into East Lansing, bro, right? Yeah. It's not an easy situation. It's a lot of points to be laying, but I love the over of that game.
All right. Good start here, Gabe. We got 171, 172 up next. Georgia State and Charlotte. We're seeing the Georgia State Panthers. I'll tell you, Gabe, this team might be pretty good. -7.5 here. It's interesting that hook on the 7 on the road. I think that's kind of telling. 52 being the total. Georgia State at Charlotte. Next one up.
You look at this Charlotte team, and I'm just retweeting the links here so people can join us live. So, Charlotte arrived on the scene and had an impressive run. But if you look at their body of work over the last couple of years, their last 26 games, Drew, they've only won 8 of them outright. Like this is not a program that is trending upwards or anything. In fact, they're in neutral and they're sort of regressing right now. You look at this football game, point spread. I'm not in love with laying 7.5 here, but you know what caught my eye about this game? We've come prepared, Drew. We love our player props. This Marcus Carroll kid. Marcus Carroll, he got 6 touchdowns already this year. It's kind of like a bowling ball type of dude. You know what I mean? One of those 5'11" type of, 210-pound running backs that just sort of steamrolls people. We know that this rushing attack is extremely difficult to stop. And Carroll is, he's the star of this thing. 300 yards on the ground, 291. I think he's ranked 6th in the country rushing. He's got 6 touchdowns. I'm looking for him, touchdown prop. Let's punch it in this football game. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he scores 2 touchdowns if you want to get some nice plus money at that multi-touchdown score prop.
Little player prop. All right. Hey, every game on the board, we can go wherever you want. Do you is that widely available? I'm not a huge college football player prop guy. I'm not against it, but it's widely okay.
It is. Yes. I don't like that either. I don't like giving stuff that it's like, well, you know what? At one book in Ireland, I got it.
Yeah.
So I hate about when people talk about opening numbers. Well, it opened at this. Like, no, it didn't. Like where? Fictitiously in Iran or something at some website. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't care what, it opened up here in Bolivia. Yeah, whatever, bro. But no, the touchdowns, I don't get crazy. Listen, player props they're fun, but they're also sharp. And these college games are erratic, man. Like it's all over the place. But the touchdown score props are pretty consistent, actually. And I think we'll get a pretty good number. It's not up right now, but it's probably going to be like -140 or something like that, -125 for a kid that scored 6 touchdowns in 2 games.
Okay. And do they normally come out on what, Fridays?
Yeah, or the morning of.
The
night before. The bigger games, Drew, like the Texas-Alabama game, the props will be up. But a game like this, they'll pop it up in the morning.
Okay. Next game up, guys.
Fresh now, but yeah, but let's keep rolling.
Okay. 173, 174, 7 o'clock Eastern kick here. Every game on the board. San Jose State at Toledo. 57.5 being the total here, Gabe. And we're seeing -7. That's the Rockets in the Glass Bowl.
I really like this game, Drew, and I'm sure you do as well. This is a fun game. You've got very good Mountain West versus Mid-American Conference. I think they're pretty evenly matched. Listen, man, we could argue Toledo have more of a recent pedigree than San Jose State. People don't see a lot of San Jose State football unless you watch these Friday night games on TV. And, they're not a big-time program. But I tell you what, man, they have a really, really good coach. They have a good quarterback. I like what I've seen from Sparty. Anybody that watched that game against the USC Trojans, we saw they didn't quit, man. They were like, I remember there was a Cordero was in the huddle once. He was like, hey, this is fun. Hey, guys. He goes, they scored, we score. And they knew, they're going to score more than us, but they showed me something. And then they had to deal with the freaking beavers, bro. Oh, these guys are as dangerous as a pack of live beavers, like going into a beaver den and stealing their wood, bro, and their logs. Like that Oregon State team, that's a dangerous football team. So I don't hold it against them. And then you look, they showed out what they could do. They took some frustrations out last week on Cal Poly slow, hung 59 on them. And then very similar situation with Toledo. No shame at all in losing that game to Illinois, the close 30-28 game. Then they absolutely murdered Texas Southern and put 71 on the board. So you know where I'm going here, man. Give me the over. This game's going to be a track meet. They're going to go back and forth. And I think it almost has like a bowl feel to me, Drew. I like this game to come down to the wire, man. Whoever's the ball last wins type of deal. Give me Sparty. Give me the San Jose State Spartans plus the points in the over.
I like where you're heading with that. Yeah, a little loose atmosphere maybe, just score, offense at the forefront. I could definitely see that happening, making the trip with San Jose State. Guys, we got Gabe Morency here, part number 3 of the Every Game on the Board podcast, and we are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Quick shout out to them. Ultimate go-to for toasting those winning picks with only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV. Viva, the perfect match for celebrating your victory. 0 sugar, guys. That means not a lot of a hangover. So that's why I like them. And Gabe, I guess people can find you Sports Rage on Twitter. You got the late night show on Sports Grid. Like I said, the most entertaining man in sports betting, but Sports Grid 10 p.m. Eastern time, right?
Yeah, and at least it's not too late. We were on at midnight before. Listen, we're out on the West Coast. We're on ESPN Radio in San Diego and Los Angeles and all up and down the coast. So we're kind of a West Coast show in that sense. But now it's a little earlier, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, 10 till 1 on the grid, on Sports Grid, Sirius XM channel 159, DirecTV channel 4150, Roku, Amazon. We're if you can't find us, you're not looking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sports Grid's all over the place, man. I'm on it Sunday nights, and I'll be joining Gabe Thursday nights at
Thursday.
10 p.m. Yeah, Thursdays at 10 p.m., guys. So you can check us out there. As the next game up, Gabe, this is a big one. SEC here. We're heading to the Swamp. Tennessee and Florida. We're seeing the Volunteers minus 6.5 point road favorites, 58.5 being the total. Vols and Gators in the Swamp.
I don't need to tell you, Mr. SEC, about the history of this series, but there's some things that you just sort of know. Fire is hot, right? I mean, if you put your hand in a flame, you're going to burn yourself. I don't need to be told. I don't need to see if I drop a pen. I don't need to watch it hit the ground. I know gravity exists, and the pen will eventually, like if you drop something off a roof, it will hit the ground. Tennessee loses in Gainesville. This is just another it's just another thing in this world that happens, and it's been happening for a long time. And in fact, they haven't won in Gainesville in over 20 years. So we have to go back to 2003. That's the last time that the Tennessee Volunteers went into Florida and beat them. People can talk about this and that, and this isn't the best Gator team and all that. Okay. You know what I mean? You don't think in the last 20 years there's been ups and downs between these teams, and it just sort of history repeats itself all the time. The boosters in Gainesville, Drew, and I have a guest on. It's really close to the program, and Heisman Trophy voter Brent Beard. He's out of Jacksonville, but he speaks at the Gator Club and stuff. Like he's really into it. You know what I'm saying? And he's telling me that the boosters and the school have Napier's back. That they blame Dan Mullen, that they're basically like Dan Mullen buried this thing, was not a good recruiter, and really left the cupboard bare. And we understand we got to sort of rebuild this. I don't know. Anthony Richardson was just taken 4th overall. Look at Emory Jones and what he's doing. We'll get to Cincinnati. Look at what Emory Jones is doing with Cincinnati right now. So maybe it was just coaching there. But where I'm going, Drew, I don't care if the boosters this and that. The drunk kids in the stands are going to start losing patience soon with Napier. Like, you got to win. And, you're not expected to win the SEC. You can't lose to Tennessee. You can't lose to Tennessee. They won't lose to Tennessee. The Gators find a way to win this football game. And if they don't, listen, we can take them plus the points anyways. But I'm buying into the history of this thing. And I'm also buying in that Napier and the Gator kids understand just how big this game is. They're not beating the Georgia Bulldogs in the cocktail party. They can beat the Tennessee Volunteers. And quite frankly, I don't really trust Milton and company going on the road laying points, Drew.
I was going to ask you about that. Being a Michigan guy, what's your overall thoughts of Milton going forward in this Tennessee offense? Because I was thinking coming in, Hendon Hooker was a great college quarterback. He has big shoes to fill. I don't know. What are your thoughts on him transitioning?
I agree. I don't think it's a case that it's just plug and play like a lot of people think about Heupel's offense.
No.
And look, dude, they lost Cedric Tillman, man. Right? He's in the NFL. He's on the Cleveland Browns now. But Jalen Hyatt's on the New York Giants now. Right? Hendon Hooker's in the NFL now. Like, they lost a lot of really good players. And yes, they're Heupel's building this program, but those are really good players. And with all due respect, like, Milton's good. He's okay. He reminds me of like a Dylan Gabriel type. You know what I'm saying? It's not great, not bad, on a good team, good system. Just do what we tell you, throw the ball and do this, fine. Hendon Hooker was special, Drew. Smart kid, just got better every year. Hendon Hooker was just like a next level type of perfect college quarterback. And not to pick on Milton, I think he's decent. And Tennessee might escape, bro, with a 3-point win here, Drew. But I think we got a live Gator. I was going to say they're a live underdog, but no, we got a live Gator here, bro. Chomp, chomp. Give me the points. Let's go.
All right, the home dog in the Gators barking here in the swamp. We got Gabriel Morency, Sports Rage on Twitter. Check out his late show on Sports Grid, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I am Drew Martin. Every Game on the Board podcast, wherever you're downloading your podcast, guys. Just search Every Game on the Board on YouTube, Facebook as well, and going live on Twitter. We got Miami of Ohio in Cincinnati up next, fighting for the victory bell here. 45 being the total. Cincinnati laying 2 touchdowns at home here, Gabe.
I'm still upset with myself for taking the wrong Miami in the week 1 of the season, Drew. Oh, Miami, Ohio, this. I'm tired of this. Let's just call it out for what it is. The MAC, it's a fun conference to bet on. And without the MAC, I don't know if the CFL could exist. Like, basically, if you're a MAC All-Star, you go to the CFL. Like, not the NFL, you go to the CFL. And it's really funny, Drew, if you watch the CFL. It's like, oh, man, that kid, oh, yeah, he's from the MAC. Oh, that's it. That was kid Toledo. Oh, Akron, huh? So, God bless the MAC, but they're not that good. Like, they get outmatched. And you talked about this. Like, so some people think, so what, Cincinnati get Oklahoma next week? Maybe the coaching staff knows that. I don't think every kid on the team knows that. And also, we're talking about a state rivalry game here. Cincinnati like to throw the gauntlet down. If you look at the history of this rivalry, they've murdered them, bro. Like, they've smoked them. They haven't taken the pedal off the metal. And I don't know about you, Drew, but you notice, like, now that Luke Fickell left, it's almost like the party's over at Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like a trendy, and we're all partying there all weekend. It's like, well, the cool kid left, and all right, see you later. I'm leaving. And it's almost like, boom, hey, the party's still going on, huh? Like, you know what I mean? I almost get that feeling like Cincinnati was good before Fickell got there. They were good with Brian Kelly. They were good with Butch Jones. They were good with Luke Fickell. This isn't like some sort of, wow, he's gone and the sky's going to fall. Not to mention, a lot of the players on that team were guys that he recruited. It's his team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this whole sort of thing about, like, Cincinnati have just been like, oh, they're done. Like, it's forget about the Bearcats. I don't fully buy into that. Listen, when we get into Big 12 play now in their first year here, let's see how it plays out. But with that, and I know they're really excited about this Sooner game, but with that being stated, with all that being stated, I think Cincinnati are better than people realize. And for all the crying, Drew, like I said, you're the SEC guy. For all the crying at the time about Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson looks damn good in the NFL right now. Emory Jones looks damn good at Cincinnati right now. Maybe it's a Florida thing, and wasn't those quarterbacks, Drew, just like DJ at Clemson. Maybe he doesn't suck. Maybe you suck, Dabo. Maybe your offense sucks.
Anthony Richardson, your player prop, I remember on your show, you gave it out. It looked good week 1, and he's not banged up, is he?
No, he's fine. It was a precautionary measure. They said he could have went back in the game. Look, he went over his number in game 1, Drew. It was 48.5 rushing yards. He went over the number. He gets there. And we also cashed a ticket at plus 150 for him to get into the end zone as well, which was a nice little payday. In fact, I'm going to pop it up here right now. I know we're going college. I just want to randomly see what Anthony Richardson pays to score a touchdown this week. Although I do like the Texans in that game, but let's rock. I like Cincinnati. I'm laying the points with Cincinnati, though, against Miami, Ohio.
The most entertaining man in sports betting here, guys. Gabriel Morency at Sports.
Let me just throw this through, too.
Yeah.
They play every year. The last 4 years that they played, the closest Miami, Ohio have come is 21 points. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe lay it with the Bearcats there, guys. This one's a wild one. 69 being the total. We got North Texas and Louisiana Tech. It says it in the total here, Gabe. The Mean Green, man, they are all offense, no defense, all pedal to the metal, no breaks here. -4.5 though. That's Louisiana Tech, the Bulldogs in Ruston. What are you thinking?
I'll tell you what. You look at this North Texas defense, guys. They've given up 104 points in 2 games, and they're you know what they're averaging, Drew? You know what they average give up yards per game?
A lot.
598.
Oh my gosh, almost 600.
Teams are they're giving up 598 yards a game. 598 yards a game. Like, yeah, they can put points up on the board. I think this number's light, bro. To me, you look, like you said, this isn't the same program that they were in the past. But at the same point, and they've always been a live dog, right? This is the spot you want these guys in. You want Tech as a dog, especially at home. But this is a tough spot. I don't even care if you're coming from Denton, Texas only. Bro, Louisiana Tech, you know it, Drew. That's like it's like the guy that was on the run in Pennsylvania. Like, you know what I mean? The convict dude. He got caught in the woods. Like, when you go to the stadium, you need to drudge through the woods. You got to climb up the side of things. You got to take a bus for 4 hours, then another bus, and another bus to get to that bus. It's like one of the worst trips in the country. Now, it won't be that bad from Texas, all kidding aside. But the Mean Green are in trouble here. I think the number's too light. Let's go with the Bulldogs in the over. Give me Tech in the over here.
Gabe, I like it. Yeah, good point. Ruston, Louisiana can get a little bit difficult to get to. James Madison.
No airports around there, bro.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. Like, sometimes people think like the Miami Dolphins going from San Diego to Miami up to New England. I'm like, man, that's NFL. You get the full week, big cities. Like, it's not going to actually be that tough.
Pullman and Corvallis and stuff like that. It's not like people are like, oh, it's so tough to play there. Yeah, they're loud and stuff, but it's not that. It's that these kids aren't used to it. Imagine you're on the USC Trojans. Suddenly you're taking a plane, and you got to take a bus. And you got to take another bus. And you got to go on some hill in the woods, right? Next thing you know, you're like, where the hell am I? You feel like you're in Deliverance, right? Like, I've been in some of these stadiums, like Mississippi State, bro. It's like dirt roads, like leading up to it. It's like like Hazard County, Dukes of Hazzard stuff. And then boom, there's this stadium. It's like you come out of the woods. It's disorientating. Like, you know what I mean? Like Coors and stores in Connecticut. It's Piscataway, New Jersey, Rutgers. Bro, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's nowhere near New York City. It's just like you keep going and going and going. And next thing you know, you're just in the middle of nowhere. And that's why these advantages happen, actually. It's the damn travel. It's not the drunk kids.
Right. I agree with you. That's a great point. Speaking of in the middle of nowhere, I've actually been here. Troy, Alabama hosting JMU, 46.5. We're seeing Troy, the Trojans. This is an interesting handicap here, Gabe. Competitively priced game, -2.5 or -3 at home. Middle of nowhere, Troy, Alabama.
I'll tell you what, it is hard to win there as well, as we know. I think they've won 8 straight home games off the top of my head. It's a tough place to play. This is a good spot, Drew, don't you think? For the Trojans, when you look at the scenario here, they got punched in the mouth last week by K-State. No shame in that. Fine. All right. It got away from them. Yeah, they're a good football team, though. Now you got a James Madison football team coming off a big-time win against a state rival and Virginia. Yeah, you were favored, and Virginia is not Virginia anymore, but still a big deal, right? It's still a big deal. You know what I mean? Big party. Kids are all happy coming off this win. Now you're going in here. Now you're going to Alabama. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just talking about these trips. Have fun with this. So to me, I look at this game. I think Troy are in a great spot here. Listen, they hung 48 in their first game. I think there's going to be points scored in this game, Drew. I like Troy, and I like the over of this game.
Gabe, we got next game up, the MAC in the Big Ten. It's Northern Illinois and Nebraska, 183, 184. And I was really intrigued by this one. Nebraska's minus 11 in Lincoln, 42 being the total. But and really, I was looking to be on Northern Illinois. I'm always a little bit skeptical. You mentioned it, the MAC teams stepping up in class. I don't love that profile, but Matt Rule, 3-23 in his first year on the job in college football. That brings in Nebraska, Baylor, and Temple. Great coach overall, but he's not afraid to have a little runway in building the program. That's why I don't want to be laying doubles with Nebraska. But interested in your thoughts here, Gabe.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, isn't it, in that sense? We all know about Matt Rule's pattern. Year one, they struggle. Year two, they get better. Year three, kills everybody. That's been the pattern in college, right? Temple and Baylor, and they're hoping to rinse and repeat it here in Nebraska. Yet, and I've been a big Northern Illinois guy. To me, they've been one of the most consistent and best MAC programs. Extremely difficult place to play. The hometown of Cindy Crawford, supermodel, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Super tough place to play. They're not as good anymore, Drew. This isn't the same team that was going to the Orange Bowl and all that. Like, they're not the same program. They're regressing quickly right now. If you look at their body of work over the last year and a half, they're just not very good. And then you get Nebraska. How about this, guys? The last 21 games that Nebraska have been listed as a favorite. They're 6-15 against the spread. I'm surprised it's that much. I'm surprised they've actually been, like, they covered 6 times, Drew, as a favorite, but like, they're 6-15 the last 21. But with all that being stated, bro, they played pretty well against Nebraska, against Minnesota in the first game. Nebraska, Minnesota, they played well. Can you really hold it against them? They were hanging around with Colorado. It's not an easy place to go to Colorado. And for the record, I know it's not on a rotation, but why would the coach of Colorado State talk smack about Deion before this game? What are you, stupid? Like, just like, why do you ring a bell and just remind them to run the score up on you? Lay the points with the Buffs. But I look at this game and I'm just thinking, aren't Nebraska ready just one of these days, one of these Saturday afternoons? They're going to F someone up, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to come together for them. Their defense is going to kill the other quarterback. And they're just, the Nebraska fan base is going to go home happy for once. And I kind of get the feeling it's here, Drew. I almost feel like they're going to roll them, bro, like 28-3 or something like that.
It could be, Gabe. I mean, the way they were able, I think people forget, like, they were hanging with Colorado,
Turnovers killed them, bro.
Yeah. So if they can kind of clean that up, I think you're on to something.
Northern Illinois doesn't have Shedeur Sanders as their quarterback. It's not the same.
No, not the same type of caliber of athlete, if you will. Gabe, this next one, man, I'm just going to throw it over to you. I'm intrigued in how you're handicapping this. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock local time, 185, 186. Vanderbilt from the SEC traveling to Las Vegas to take on UNLV. Vandy, anywhere from -4 to -5. Some opinion in the marketplace. What are we thinking?
I don't know. What the hell's going on, man? Like, this is bizarro world. Why is the number, Drew, what it is? Is this that they saw Vanderbilt kind of struggle against Hawaii in the first week? And they really didn't struggle. They were up by 21 in the fourth quarter, and they got backdoored. Last week, okay, they lost by 16. They didn't cover. They were getting 10, 11, whatever the hell it was. Wake was a very trendy pick last week. But Swan looked pretty good. Their offense moved the ball. They're a 2-1 football team. Are UNLV this improved? What have we seen from UNLV so far this year? We saw them beat Bryant and cover. Okay. They smoked Bryant, and then they went to the big house. And I don't know, Michigan, bro, took all their starters out, Drew, in like the third quarter.
Okay. Like
Michigan, like people talk about Michigan this, Michigan that. Guys, I don't know if you're watching the game. Like, I think the ball boy got a couple of snaps at quarterback. Like JJ McCarthy was like cheerleading and guys were in and out, and like kids that never play were playing because they know you're never playing again, kid. You came here, all the work you put in. we play Rutgers next week. There's no more fun and games. Like, you're never going to play again. So Michigan had some fun last week against UNLV. I've watched every Michigan game for the last 40 years, Drew. It was like a practice last week for these guys. Like, they were literally just laughing and whatever. And right. But I like to see them dial up the intensity a little bit, to be honest. We can get to that after about Michigan and Bowling Green, but I got to go with Vanderbilt here. With all due respect to Odom, bro, and what they're doing, I like Brumfield. I like UNLV. I like what they're doing, and they hung tough last week, bro. Their defense came up with a couple of stops. I like the enthusiasm. They were down 30-0 to Michigan, and the kids were into the game still, and I like to see that. But to me, man, this SEC speed is just too light of a point spread, Drew. Give me Vanderbilt, bro.
Okay, Commodores going on the road. I guess you could say a tough trip, but yeah, I was with you. I like hearing your breakdown of that Michigan UNLV game there, Gabe, as we got UL Lafayette and UAB up next, 60 being the total. We're seeing the UAB Blazers -2.5. Trent Dilfer in the Blazers -2.5 here.
Yeah, this number feels a little light, doesn't it, as well? So it's easy to forget about Trent Dilfer, that he's the new coach here, won a high school championship. He's all in. He's a rah guy. And they're coming off, they lost last week, but the offense seems to be clicking here a little bit, Drew. Now, this is the one, and it's crazy. I didn't think I'd be as enthusiastic about every one of these games as I have been, pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
But this is the one where I'm like, UAB or pass.
I got you, man. Maybe one follow-up question, Gabe. What do you think of high school football last year? Now you're a college football head coach. Do you like that profile? Is that too big of a step for guys?
I think it would be a tough step to jump into a program. Not that UAB is Bama, but still, I think, if you're transitioning from high school, you'd be better off in an FCS type of situation. But Trent Dilfer was the #1 pick in the NFL draft.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes. Trent Dilfer was also a Super Bowl champion.
Right.
People can say, well, he's the worst Super Bowl champion. Who cares? You know what I mean? He's got a Super Bowl ring. You don't. Right. So, you know what I mean? Like, imagine, Drew, if you were you won the lottery and someone said, well, you're the ugliest lottery winner ever. It'd be like, yeah, I still have $300 million.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Sir Winston Churchill. Someone told him, she said, sir, you're a boorish drunk. And he said, yeah, but when I wake up in the morning, I'll be sober and you'll still be ugly. That's what he told her.
I never heard that one. Hey, the things you learn here.
Yeah, I'm giving you historical quotes and winners. Let's go.
Let's get after it. Georgia Tech and Mississippi next up. We only got 2 games left here, guys, and we're bringing in Robbie Vino as our closer. 189-190, 7:30 Eastern. Georgia Tech at Ole Miss. -18. That's hotty toddy here in Oxford. 63 the total.
I tell you what, I don't know how you feel about Kiffin. He's one of these dudes that I used to find him just sort of cringeworthy, obnoxious, in his early days. Mm-hmm. But that was then. People change. Now I think he's one of the most refreshing voices of college football. I think he's a damn good coach. And I think this football team is damn good. I really do. I've been buying in on this Mississippi team for a couple of years since he's been there, Drew. And, last year it didn't really fit. It just didn't click. This year, if you look, and people don't realize it, they're a running machine. If you look at, people think of Lane Kiffin, you're going to think, oh, this, run and shoot, or they're going to run some crazy offense and stuff. Dude, you see, they got one of the best running backs in the country, and they use him. Jackson Dart is really starting to get. He might be one of the better quarterbacks that no one talks about, Drew. I don't know what your take on that kid is. He's good. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Georgia Tech this, and look at what they did against Louisville and all that. I think Ole Miss are going to drill these guys in this game, bro. I think I'm going to lay the points. I think Ole Miss win by 21 or more.
All right, run it up a little with Lane Kiffin, who has admitted to knowing what the point spread is in the past. So something to keep in mind here with the bigger point spread. Gabe, let me just ask you real quick. Do you factor that in? Let's say it's up near 3 touchdowns. Do you factor in how the head coach for the favorite has done in the past in that profile? Do you think that's important?
Yes. Yeah. I think you get some of the old guys, and they genuinely don't know what the point spread is, right? Mm-hmm. And, if you look at Michigan as well, Michigan could have covered. People are all mad. Oh, they don't cover the spread the first 2 games. It's yeah, okay. You want to cover the spread, or you want to make sure that the backup safety gets some playing time. So if the starter goes down in week 6 and we're going to Penn State, right, like Michigan are thinking big picture, but you get other schools and other coaches that know and totally understand, especially though I think it's bigger. It's bigger with the underdogs, Drew, and sort of like a bad school that loses a lot, but I cover all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not getting blown out, man, and we're covering. That's how you get those free Lexuses and golf club memberships coming. Cover point spreads, bro.
Sure. Good point. In last game here, Gabe, we'll get a most confident play from Gabriel Morency as well. Pittsburgh and West Virginia, backyard brawl in here, Gabe. 7:30 Eastern, 191, 192, the rotation number, 47, the total. -2.5. There is a -3 popping up. That's West Virginia taking some money, I'm seeing from the open, Gabe.
Yeah, this is the one I don't have a lot of confidence in, only because of the backyard brawlness of it. I mean, it's like the 106th edition of this thing or whatever. They've been playing this thing forever. With that being stated, I think Pittsburgh are better than they showed last week. I'm going to believe that Cincinnati are better and more so than Pittsburgh are bad. Dracovic had a bad game last week. Let's call it out for what it is, right? And he was 10 of 32, was ugly. The passing attack was ugly. I'm a big Narduzzi fan, and I like what he said. He point blank. He said, listen, we didn't play well. It just didn't click. He goes, we were ready. I hope things are different this week, right? That's life. It's like the Bills and the New York Giants. Sometimes you played football. You know, how many times you have a great week of practice, then you sucked in the game, right? Like, it's like, yeah, we had a great, but it didn't work. Okay, let's get back after it right now. And what better way of bouncing back after losing to the Bearcats than winning this backyard brawl? West Virginia might be better than people thought they were going to be coming into this year, but this is a gut feel instinct that I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Panthers here to bounce back and win this football game in a close one.
Sure. Looking towards Pitt in that one, guys. Follow him on Twitter at Sports Rage. Check out his show, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid, Sirius Channel 159. You can find it all kinds of ways, guys. That's Sports Grid, Gabe Morency, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Gabe, I like to ask everybody, do you have a most confident play of all the ones we talked about?
There's a few of these with these totals. That Washington, Michigan State total, guys, just far too light. So I'm going to put that at the top of the confidence list. And the other one as well, I'm going to bet it big. You know what I mean? You know, I'll put like a nickel type thing, maybe dime nickel on these picks. The San Jose State Toledo game. Track meet. Check the weather, though, actually. I got to remember, it seems like there's a hurricane or a tornado every day somewhere. So I'm going to check in on that, Drew.
Weather dependent. But
hey, and I like the Canes to cover the 53.5. All right. They beat them 70-13 last year. They beat them 63-0 the time before that they played. They won't take the pedal off the metal. And I love Navy and Memphis to go over the number, actually. Layla Wood with Memphis as well. They own Navy. Navy have always had a hard time with Memphis's team speed. And they've lost 4 straight to them, making 5 straight. And Memphis cover game goes over, Drew.
Love it, Gabe. Guys, reminder, we are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, vivatequilaseltzer.com. 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV, 4 different flavors, huckleberry, elderberry, 2 of my favorites here. We also got grapefruit as well. Gabe, any final thoughts here before we shut it down?
Well, no, thanks for having me. I owe you. You've come on my show so many times over the years. So I guess, you know what I mean? It was time for me to join you. Absolutely. But we enjoyed it. I'm ready. I'm prepared. And final thought, actually, look for Michigan to dial it up a little bit this week. They're going into conference play next week. They get Rutgers, their final scrimmage. They get Bowling Green. Look for both team totals have gone under the number with Michigan's opponents. Bowling Green are not going to score. So let's go under team total. Bowling Green Falcons go under in the football game. Michigan wins like 45-0.
Love it, Gabe. Great stuff, man. You're welcome anytime. Guys, smash that like button. Let us know below where you agree, where you disagree, what you thought of the show in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. Cash those tickets. Smash that like button. We'll be right back